Elden Ring review Dark Souls 4 Dung Eater Edition TM. I am reacting to Seth's video because you requested it. All it really took was for you to request what I watched. I'm not like everyone else. I'm not like those other streamers. Today, all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV. I'm all about those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely. Elden Ring review Dark Souls 4 Dung Eater Edition TM by Ssethtzeentach.
Hey people, Seth here. The following is highly
God.
experimental.
It's Gideon from the freaking the Nuxanor video.
And may come off as disjointed or schizophrenic. I
mean, to be fair, most of the bosses in Elden Ring are disjointed and schizophrenic.
don't care. Elden Ring, the newest hot release by Hideo Miyazaki of Ghibli Studios, famous for classic animations such as Howl's Moving Mausoleum and My Invader Totoro. From Software have really outdone themselves, as this game features not one, but 2 crustaceans.
Dude, 2 crustaceans in Elden Ring. It's such a rough day out here. Oh, man. Although, listen, for the research purposes and research purposes only, there is actually lobster hentai. I have seen lobster. Okay, let's not worry about what I've seen. Let's worry about what Seth's seen. This man is going to teach me all about the lore in Rule 34 that I require.
Possibly even more. Unfortunately, I haven't unlocked the ability to swim, so I cannot confirm or deny that. The game begins, and I make my character. His name? Sambubu. His class, naturally, is wretched. I did originally consider prisoner, but I chose not to.
Why not? There is some really good cosplay porn with the prisoner outfit. Why am I doing this to I feel like I am not good. I am getting myself in so much hot water.
Take the key as my starting item and live to regret it after I get immediate access to a side dungeon and get run over repeatedly by a speeding train. I chose instead to go the other way. After camping a few times, Melina comes by and offers me an accord. I turn it down because I think it's funny. I then proceed to kill...
Dude on his first playthrough turned down the maiden? Dog, this man was... Vary's telling him how maidenless he is. This dude finally gets a maiden and immediately turns down the maiden.
Kill Morgott and Godric before I realize I haven't leveled up. How was I supposed to know I had to say yes? Miyazaki, just because I'm offered the ability to talk to a woman doesn't mean I'm going to take it.
That is such a weak mindset for most of us. That's the only chance we're gonna get.
I think that's a symptom of bad design.
I think that's a symptom of you having a life.
Conversely, I fell for the oldest trick in a book, the warm embrace of a woman's lap. Only
Fia has some pretty solid stuff too, although hentai in the Melina department is way better. Because like the dialogue is so much better. It's like, would you like an accord? And I will become your maiden. So much better than just laying on a woman's lap.
Only to find out 100 hours later, it's actually a debuff.
Dude, I did not notice that.
This?
I did not notice that for my entire first playthrough. I had that debuff and I could not get rid of it.
I guess I'll have to consult a 40-minute lore video to figure out the true symbology behind this item description. I tell you, passive storytelling at its very best, especially when half of characters either disappear, die, or start T-posing during your playthrough.
So actually, you'll notice that all of the characters disappear, die, and T-pose. That's not just some of them. Every single character quest ends in their death.
This might bother people who believe there's a story, which is the equivalent of finding a bunch of random notes and thinking to yourself, damn, that book was wild. Halo's plot is crazy. Have you not read all the secret terminals? On the bright side, Dark Souls lore channels now have a steady source of bread for the next 4 years.
Ronnie's toes explained. Finally, someone making content that I want. Finally, someone making content that they get me. Someone that gets me. I could definitely use Ronnie's toes explained. And listen, I'm just gonna say this once, but there is actually some pretty solid Moog gender bend hentai.
For the next 4 years, I assure you, you'll know every side character better than your own family. I don't remember which war Granddad was fighting, but I do know Patches. I know that, canonically, he is circumcised. Honestly, I don't judge. I still get to have my wife Ronnie. What I'm criticizing is the involvement of this fat fuck. Celebrated offer, helping to weave the narrative experience. Okay, let's see what this dude wrote.
All right. Here's the joke. All right, let's predict it. Either it's gonna be the copious amount of dragons, or the copious amount of incest. It's either the dragons or the incest. If he makes any joke other than that, I will tell him that he's an original man. He is original and worthy of my respect. If he makes the incest joke or a dragon joke, he's a washed up has-been.
Sunset found her squatting in the grass, groaning. Every stool was looser than the one before and smelled fouler. By the time the moon came up, she was shitting brown water. The more she drank, the more she shat, but the more she shat, the thirstier she grew, and her thirst sent her crawling to the stream to suck up more water. I rest my case.
Is that real? Is that a real quote?
J.R.R. Martin is the greatest author who has ever lived. He has also never finished his books. And so, fittingly, From Software has embodied the spirit of J.R.R. Martin by never finishing a single quest line.
Nothing but incredible respect. I thought he was going to make an incest joke or a dragon joke, but this man took me for a complete loop, and he went for a he never finished his books joke. Nothing but respect! Nothing but respect!
Elden Ring is an ambitious platformer, and if you disagree, you haven't played the game, because half this game is jumping with a head start, or falling into a hole, into a canyon, into the place you originally wanted to, but accidentally jumped before doing so, adding an extra foot to the height of your fall, which turned it into a lethal descent. There's nothing I love more than jumping awkwardly off rooftops, but how do we spice it up? Archers.
Archers, baby! Archers. Dude, not just archers, invisible assassins!
They're on every roof, and they've got tracking. And guess what? The sewer levels are back.
Yeah!
And this time, they're essential to the plot.
Yeah!
I'm thinking Game of the Year. Calling the Mountain your game, Torrent. Absolute genius. So, anybody Googling Elden Ring Torrent gets a bunch of horse pictures. Elden Ring 2 features the popular and beloved character Codex de Nuvo Pre-Cracked No Virus. But, why are we here?
Oh, dude. Oh, wait, I gotta take another screenshot.
We're here for the difficulty because we're hardcore gamers. Take it from me. I've already beaten the final boss, John Elden Ring, so I can give a few pointers. Have you ever used a weapon, armor, fast travel, potions, or
I know where he's going.
Opened the world map?
Well, that's just the wrong way to play the game. You're playing the game on easy baby goo goo gaga mode. You use the map, you use potions, you use weapon, you level up, you use summons. Goo goo gaga mode, baby.
I'm sorry to say, but you're playing the game wrong. This game is meant to be played level 1 as a wretch, using a single
Only
club,
a club.
no upgrades. If you disagree, I'll call you a casual.
You're just a casual. Get good, bitch.
Ever hear someone talking like this, take pity on them, because this behavior is characteristic of someone who stacks no paper and gets no bitches.
That's rough, buddy. The only bitch they get is Melina when they offer an accord, if you know what I'm saying. Ho ho!
Isn't hard. Not because it's not hard, but because video games fundamentally aren't hard. You know what circumstances of life, getting a degree, having a stable family.
That's not hard, that's just luck.
Being born with a baby arm. You're born and one arm develops normally into an adult arm, but the other is this stunted mini child arm, which stops growing at like 3 years of age.
Dude,
so
this man is actually hilarious. This man's a whole bag of laughs.
You're this freakish monstrosity.
Now
you'll be known
hard.
around town as Baby Arm Man, and the only job you'll ever have is baby arm stock photo, because it's harder for them to get a kid to pose for that. It's a lot more convenient to have a malformed monstrosity on standby. Furthermore, I genuinely believe that pattern recognition is a form of cheating. Your Homo sapiens brain is literally destroying the difficulty of the experience by compensatory adaptation. I hope that people consider this in the future and later learn to recognize that the truest From Software experience would be a lobotomite run, where prior to playing, we perform a frontal lobotomy and sever your prefrontal cortex. Sometimes, the only option you have to preserve the purity of your experience is brain damage. Multiplayer enhances the experience. Sometimes you'll see white phantoms briefly appear. These are players from other worlds going through their own journey. Once, I saw a white phantom appear, teabagging a dead NPC. In this moment, I knew I was playing a masterpiece. Messages and appraisal are exactly how Reddit users believe karma works. You upvote, and you get actual physical nourishment from the karma. Oh,
yeah, that's exactly how Reddit works.
Look, a message on the floor. Maybe someone out there will tell me something useful. Then you open it and read it, only to see dog butthole.
I was close! I was close!
Closely followed by Fortnite. According to a true story, once upon a time, Miyazaki's car broke down in the middle of a road.
Dude, I love how Elden Ring has like hundreds of hours of content in it. This man only had 15 minutes to review it, and he's talking about lobotomies and baby arm-mans. I love him.
This was during winter, so no help was to be found, when suddenly 3 strangers appeared out of nowhere, sucked him off, and left without even saying a word. And that's how Miyazaki got the inspiration for Souls multiplayer. Gameplay, flawless, stunning, effervescent. Just like Bloodborne was a complex allegory for sexually transmitted HIV, Elden Ring is a rich synesthesia between seeing Swampland and remembering Blighttown, or hearing Leyendell long after you've left the capital, because my ears are still ringing from the sound of those fucking trumpets. Actual real critique. No jokes, no giggles. I think every boss should have a stake of America outside the boss room. Generally, this is true, but sometimes I gotta walk. And traditionally, I do not consider cardio as part of a boss fight. Now, the walks are more generous than any other Souls game.
Honestly, like, you might complain that you have to walk up this little ramp to Malekith every time. Compare that to the original Dark Souls, where every time you lost a boss fight, it was a 45-minute journey back to that boss just so they can freaking ream your asshole in 2 minutes.
But just because somebody chose to take a smaller shit in my rice doesn't change the fact that it's still there. Inside my bowl, steaming up my Tupperware. I would also have originally said that the death screen is quite long, but then I realized it's working as intended. You see, when you die in PvP, you have no option but to watch helplessly as someone spams point down and repeatedly defiles your dead body. My complaint...
Defiling corpses is basically part of the lore. Surprisingly, the loathsome Dung Eater, the pee-pee poo-poo caca man, that dude's Rule 34 is kind of ingenuitive.
Rates are pretty mild. If, like me, you didn't realize Vigor has a non-linear scaling, it would have helped immensely to know that going 10 to 20 makes no tangible difference, but 20 to 40 is all the difference between taking a blow and getting one-tapped by most of the game. I wish I knew that at the start. Luckily, this game is very generous with its ability to reroll your character. If you're still paranoid, you can back up your save at no risk. I've done this more than 100 times without issue and recommend you do the same, because despite what anybody says, there's a million ways to brick your save. I've done it, I can reproduce it, it's still there. Also, easy anti-cheat is a very good anti-cheat because it's very easy to turn off. My friend may have done exactly that, and more. Tell me, Seth, was he punished? Is he banned? No, some of the later fights have interesting hitboxes. Not like I care. I cheesed through that shit. This game makes you realize the greatest companion you'll ever have is yourself. So why not make a copy? Lore. Before continuing, we have to stop and talk about the best character in the game. Dung Eater. Loathsome. Dung Eater. Ferocious. Feaster of feces. Devious. Doo-doo devourer. Dung Eater consumes excrement, feces, shit even, nihilistic, and with a wicked
Lamau even.
Sense of humor. His greatest desire is to eat the poo-poo and of course murder you and defile your dead body. I think there's a lot we can learn from Dung Eater, but as a society, we're not yet ready for that conversation. Builds. There's many builds. Strength is terrible until you realize you can power stance through the entire game and block everything else with barricade shield.
Dude, strength is always my favorite build in Souls games. It always is. And if you use skills, then you're just playing it wrong.
0 stamina. Going strength, unfortunately, puts you at the highest risk group for naming yourself the Black Swordsman and cosplaying as your favorite slice of life anime. If I see you doing this, I'll summon you intentionally so I can kick you for my world. Dexterity. Do you enjoy katanas? How about double katanas, each one longer than the last, using realistic, historically accurate sword techniques from feudal era Japan?
Whenever I think of historically accurate techniques from feudal Japan, I think about how the Cleopatra documentary was so good, and I really appreciate the fact that a lot of people don't know this, but in feudal Japan, the lord, the shogun, was actually an LGBT black woman.
What about epic PvP compilations? Say no more. Get a River of Blood today. Intelligence. Some would say a great deal of their enjoyment comes from learning the moveset of every boss. A rhythmic dance between sword, swipe, and parry. A lethal symphony. Silenced only by death. Others would disagree. I'm confident that if you ask any player running sorcery what's their favorite boss, they'll recoil in surprise and say, I don't know any. I just sit at the back and spam Azure Comet. Faith. Incantations are very good. Abusing the animation of catch.
I think Faith is so broken in Elden Ring.
Flame to cast them instantaneously is even better. And before you say it, I know. It's working exactly as intended. You know what else is intended? This. Also, this and this. My greatest enjoyment of this game, beyond the exploration, the richness of the graphics, and the scale of the world they made, has been abusing every mechanic I possibly
That's
can
the one!
before it gets patched
That's the one where you put flame on yourself and then you automatically kill everyone.
out. And so, inevitably, I have taken to abusing other players. You might call them humans. I call them people who use Moonveil unironically.
I'll say they deserve to die.
And thus, I feel no remorse for any of my
Yes.
actions. In summary,
Remorse is a government psyop to make you feel bad about committing crimes. Remorse is for pussy.
Elden Ring attracts many different responses. Some fillet the long shaft of FromSoft endlessly. Others hate it because of their own incompetence. Walking manifestations of a Dunning-Kruger effect, these people believe that failure is not their own and somehow inflicted upon them by the universe. You can't be bad at video games, as video games are merely a subject matter. No, that is a deficit in your cognitive ability, something that likely plagues you in every aspect of your life.
That's
In
rough.
summary, if you're bad at video games, you're bad at life.
That
You've got a
makes a lot of
smooth
sense.
brain and a low IQ.
That's
Your
just
fate is to be a grunt in the New World Order. And then
Yes.
there's others, like me, who are quietly waking up to the fact that maybe we should have never dropped those bombs to begin with. I guess what I'm trying to say is...
Whoa, hold up, son. What? Whoa. Oh, God. What? That hard line. That red line, baby.
Elden Scrolls, 10 out of 10, garbage. I love it. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. If you're interested in some merchant multiplayer, password FUGHUNT goes in all fields. First 50 to invade get a 15% off their first month of FUGHunters.com, the official sponsor of this video. And now, allow me to conclude this presentation with some calming visuals. Rest
calming
assured,
visuals.
most of the things seen here can no longer be afflicted on another human being. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild.
Banger video. Good job, Ssethtzeentach. That was fire. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.